Welcome back to the Morning Cafe. 22047 is our SMS line at TV47KE at Eric_Mnene. Let's keep the show interactive. Time now for a bit of politics. In studio, I'm joined by three waheshimiwas here. We have Jude Njomo, the MP for Kiambu County. Karibu to the studio. Kiambu Town, rather. Yeah. You have Dr. Eseli Simiyu, the MP for Tongaren, in studio with us. Karibu to the studio, sir. And we have Rehema Dida, who's the woman representative of Isiolo County. Welcome to the studio. But just quick, we go through the papers one more time just to see what has made headlines. Daily Nation, remember earlier on we had a technical hitch, we couldn't go through it. So the front page, pay boom for civil servants and teachers, that is what made it to the front page of the Daily Nation, as the budget goodies in Uhuru's final year will see Teachers Service Commission receiving an extra 15 billion shillings for a pay rise and hiring of new teachers, while civil servants are also set for a salary increment following the allocation of an extra 70.8 billion shillings to ministries for recurrent expenditure. There's a breakdown there. You can see it on the screen if my director can project it. The big winners, and these are the amounts in Kenyan shillings. Education to get around 21.97 billion shillings, additional amount allocated to the education sector, taking its total for the new year. And security there, we have 40.89 billion shillings, then 32.5 billion shillings there goes to infrastructure projects, and then 14.6 billion shillings goes to the judiciary. Governance, justice, law and order will attract 14.6 billion shillings more, pushing the total allocation to 231.97 billion shillings. But to introduce my guests again, very quickly, on my right, the farthest right there is the MP for Kiambu Town, Jude Njomo. Karibu to the studio.
Good morning, viewers.
Yeah, and right there in the middle is Rehema Dida, who's the woman representative of Isiolo County.
Good morning, viewers.
And we have Dr. Eseli Simiyu, the MP for Tongaren.
Morning, viewers.
Mnaweza salimiana kidogo. So I'll start with you, Dr. Simiyu. Page 1 of the Daily Nation there. There's an interesting story there on page, but the story in depth is covered on page 3, Kibaki at 90. Just quickly, what do you remember Kibaki for?
Absence makes the heart fonder. I think I would say I was lucky and privileged to be in Parliament in the last term of Kibaki.
Yep.
And I would say it was a wonderful time. Mm-hmm. It was a wonderful time, difficult but wonderful in the sense that it was a post-conflict Parliament. Mm-hmm. But the Speaker handled it very well. And the oversight over government was actually at its best, because in that situation there was no real opposition, no real government, because all the parties were in government, with the ODM having a majority of 1, and the PNU side therefore having a less 1. But it was a very interesting time, because the oversight role of Parliament was respected by the executive. Yeah. To the extent that, in fact, there were times we had people get ministers to step aside and issues like that on accountability matters. And I think also the collaboration between the executive and Parliament was also at its best, because if you remember the economic stimulus, which was actually started by Kibaki after the post-election violence, and the members of the National Assembly were actually part of it in implementing this in the respective constituencies. Yeah. And I think I would say that at that point, the development agenda of the country was a bit more inclusive, in the sense that you found all these things spread throughout the country. Like when you get rural electrification, each constituency being allocated according to the deficit that they had. roads, money being so it was quite an equitable push, a fresh look at the country. I would say it was a wonderful time, and Kibaki himself was not domineering, not threatening, such that if you ever encountered him, you felt that connection with him. So it was a wonderful time.
But you said there was no real opposition. Would you compare it right now? I remember, Ababu Namwamba trying to, come and lead some sort of, makeshift opposition, and it was really hard for him, because as you say, there was no real opposition. Would you compare that time to right now?
I would say that the oversight role of Parliament has been watered down. Okay. But mainly because of the new type of constitution, whereby the cabinet secretaries don't come from the House, and usually when you summon them, they just don't come. They send the principal secretary or
the CS,
and that has sort of delinked and watered down the oversight role of Parliament.
Over to you, MP Dida Jaldesa.
Thank you. I think I will agree with absolutely everything Mheshimiwa said, and maybe I wasn't in that parliament, but I was in the civil service then, and I will say we'll remember Kibaki for so many things. We will remember him for a very good economic growth for our country. During his time, hustlers have not suffered. We had markets for our goods. We had a working government and a working nation. We enjoyed security. We enjoyed a free, period where everybody was free to do his or her things without interference. We did not have a government that threatens its people. And as I'm speaking to you, I want to send my police to the people of Embakasi. I have quite a number of my voters who reside there, had their houses demolished for the past 2-3 days. So these are the things we never used to see during Kibaki's time. The development which came during the Kibaki time was the development that complemented people's businesses. When there were developments like SGR that started during his period, people were compensated, and generally Kenya was a happy nation. And if there was a way, and I remember that conversation was started, actually if there was a way that Kibaki would have wished to stay on, I can assure you Kenyans were ready to have Kibaki as a president another probably 5 or 10 more years. And he has left a legacy. And most of the things now we are talking about as a development for this country started during Kibaki's time. I remember it connected most part of northern Kenya to Kenya, because when I was growing up and even when I was in school, somebody arriving in Isiolo is when they will say they are in Kenya. Those who are in Mandera, Wajir, Marsabit will not feel like they are part of Kenya, because to access Marsabit from Nairobi will take you about 2-3 days. But now you will leave Moyale at around 6 and you will be in Nairobi by 8. And we attribute that development to Kibaki because he is the one who did the tarmac road from Isiolo to Moyale all the way to connecting to Ethiopia. So I will go on and on and on to talk about the good things that Kibaki has. Indeed, if there is a president who has left a legacy, it is that president. He wasn't noisy, he wasn't intimidating, he wasn't coercive. You know, he more or less had a very good sense of humor. Even the way we will just come at the public and make some funny jokes. Those are the things we miss.
Okay. And you, over to you, Mheshimiwa Jude Njomo, but very, very briefly, because I understand we are headed to a very quick and short commercial break. What do you remember President Mwai Kibaki for?
I'll start from where she stopped.
Okay.
I'll first remember him for his amazing sense of humor. The mafia kuku jokes, and that kind of talk, it was easy to go by. But I would also like to remember him for putting our country into a regime that was able to increase the tax base. You remember when he got to power, he gave out a moratorium that if you have not been paying your taxes, can you declare your taxes and start paying? If you do that, we are not going to bother of what you are supposed to have paid before. And this increased our tax-based revenue threefold. I remember when Moi left, we were talking about a budget of 500 billion. By the time Kibaki left, he was doing 1.7 billion. So it was a tremendous thing. I also remember him as a lesson for us Kenyans. When he was in power, we called him everything. We called him General Kigwe. We called him a fence sitter. We did not appreciate the work that was going then. In fact, we appreciate Kibaki's work in retrospect. We look at Thika Road today and we realize what kind of a good leader he was. We look at the work that we have done and we appreciate it much later, just like we are doing now. People are complaining about the work that about President Uhuru. And
we'll get to that in a few. Let's take now a very short commercial break. We'll pick it up from where MP Jude Njomo has dropped it. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Entrepreneurs around the country are creatively grinding.
I started with a borrowed phone.
A borrowed phone?
Yeah, that could last 2 hours with charge.
We just have to do quality work for them.
To make their mark in an unpredictable market.
It was now going on a sales venture, looking for stockists, door to door.
On the grind, we bring you their stories so you can tell yours. Every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Men are known to be the pillars.
We're rising up together.
Say your point. You need an alpha male now to come and help you and your girl.
Ameongea zero.
And women, they are the cornerstone that hold the pillars.
Don't be entitled. A man is peaceful, a man who's allowed to talk to a lady.
This November, the Men's Conference brings a cocktail of diverse ladies to weigh in on various matters.
Something I'd love more to see is men being able to exist as themselves.
Tune in every Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Hello guys, and welcome to Night In with Joy Irungu. Joy Irungu. Joy Irungu.
Heartbreak, pain, and tears have been a major
Welcome back to the Morning Cafe. It's the season of political realignments or the transfer window. If you're a fan of football, you would understand what that means. We're going to be talking about that. We want to understand why politicians would really feel that it is necessary for them to belong to political parties, despite the fact that the Constitution allows them to vie for different seats as independent candidates. But before we delve into that, Mheshimiwa Jude Njomo, before we took a very short break, you were talking about what people right now are saying about President Kenyatta's presidency and how people appreciate, development in a retrospective manner.
Yeah, but like I was saying, we will always remember Kibaki as a humorous president who was able to deliver serious development in a very easy way. But like I was saying, it reminds me of how we Kenyans are, that we only appreciate the services that are being rendered when somebody is out of office. And that is exactly what we did to President Kibaki. We appreciate his work after he has left. We appreciate that he was able to maneuver his way into a new constitution. When he was doing that, we did not appreciate it. There was a lot of pressure from civil society. There was a lot of pressure from even the church. They did not want the new constitution to take place. But today, We are very, very proud that we have one of the most pragmatic constitutions in the world. Today we appreciate Thika Road. Today we appreciate the services and the free education that was started by President Kibaki. So like I was saying, even today, we are complaining, many are complaining that, oh, President Uhuru Kenyatta is not doing A, B, C, D. They are not realizing that through his government, almost every town in the country has been connected to power through the last mile connectivity. We have our road networks that have improved. The number of roads, the number of kilometers that have been done under the President Uhuru's government exceed what all the other presidents and the colonial government did there before. A lot of work has been done. Dams have been built. Water reticulation has been done. But we don't appreciate them right now. We are waiting that when he leaves office in 2022, then nostalgically we shall start appreciating his work. I think the time has come when we have to change our attitude and start appreciating what is happening.
Okay, I'll stay with you right there. Let's take a quick look at what has made news on the dailies. Today we start with the Daily Nation. On page 4 of the Daily Nation, I don't know if you have a copy of the Daily Nation, Mheshimiwa. Is that standard? Oh, okay, well, I think the producer can project what I have right here on the screen. On page 4 of the Daily Nation, Ruto accuses Mount Kenya leaders backing Raila of lying to voters. Yesterday, the deputy president, while on a tour of Meru County, you can see there on the screen, at Gakoromone Market in Meru town yesterday, even went ahead to speak in Sheng and said people like the governor, Keretu Murungi, wache kubeba watu ufala. That's loosely translated to mean don't think that we are fools. You know, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the time for looking for votes has come. And it's amazing that this time round, campaign have started very, very early in the day, almost 1 year to the general elections. And we are going to be we are going to be hearing so many promises, some of which cannot be achieved. And I think when you have nothing to offer to the people, you can only go challenging what others are offering. Yeah. So I would expect that if you come to my place and you want to woo my voters to vote for you, you would come with the goodies that you want to promise them. If I had promised them something else, why do you want to challenge what I had promised them? And you don't know whether I am going to deliver them. Every leader has a way of looking for his votes. And Mount Kenya leaders are doing exactly that. They are selling their candidates in a way that they know best. So if the other parties want to sell their candidates, let them do it the way they know best. But this part of challenging, this is just some rhetorics to look for votes, and they should not be taken seriously.
When you say that some of those things should not be taken seriously and you're a politician, trust me, I believe you. Would you want to react to what he's just said?
I don't want you to believe him very fast because, as they said, things are different ground. I come from the neighborhood because I represent the county of Isiolo. And when the deputy president says the leaders like Governor Kiraitu should not lie to the citizen, I know what he's talking about. Because that part of the country, people are really very angry. We are angry because a lot of things is not happening. For example, Meru is known for the miraa. And if really you go to the ground today, you will meet a very, sorry state. The miraa farmers are really suffering because they have no markets for their product. Their product used to be consumed quite a lot in neighboring countries of Somalia. But somehow that business, because of the current relationship, is not doing well. It's sort of like the miraa is banned in Somalia. And for that...
And whose fault is that, Weshigo?
Well, I will say...
Somalia and Kenya are having frosty relationship.
Correct.
Whose fault is that?
Of course, I don't want to sound unpatriotic, but I will, in a way, say there's a better way that we can handle our dispute with our neighboring countries. Somalia has been there, Kenya has been here, and we've never had such kind of, serious disagreement. And I feel like that has not been handled quite well politically. Because if even you look at the regional politics, the Somalia government seems to enjoy a lot of goodwill from the other African countries than us. So that clearly tells you that as a country, we are not doing quite well under the leadership of President Uhuru Kenyatta.
And his deputy, William Ruto?
Well, the deputy has not been in office for the last 4 years. We could attribute even the good things Mheshimiwa has just said, the past 5 years, that is 2013 to 2017, to William Ruto, because it was said that, and I will quote Kina Mheshimiwa and the rest who are accusing the deputy president of having run the government.
Yeah.
And that is not my word, that is their word. They said, you know, one of the reasons why President Uhuru Kenyatta is so, has fallen out with the deputy president is because that period of 2013 to 2017, William Ruto was running the government. So clearly, we should give him all the credit for the good things Mheshimiwa has said.
That is what is called talking with the both sides of your
power. I am just saying. And the kind of first relationship we're having our neighbors is starting this time. So I am just giving you facts, Mheshimiwa, as they are. So what I'm saying is, if you go to that part of the country, people do not understand why they have no market for their products, why our communities are suffering. We have animals that are dying, you know. A lot has been said. Even now, we were told, I was in a meeting last week, we said the government has released 450 million for animal offtake because we are having the serious drought in our areas. To date, animals are dying, farmers are not seeing that money. And for all this reason, if you go there and you talk about handshake, and you talk about anything to do with, I don't know, Raila Odinga, you will go home as a politician. And that is why in Meru County, other than Mheshimiwa Maoka Maore, the rest are in hustle and nation. Believe you me. And you know, for me, I can even comfortably become an independent. Because where I come from, political party is not so much a big deal. Even like now, you will find one is in PDR, one is in Jubilee, one is even my governor is independent. But for those people from areas of Mount Kenya, mambo ni tofauti ka ground. That I can tell you.
Okay.
Yes.
Over to you, Dr. Eseli Simiyu. And when you speak, I would want to know, are you speaking on behalf of Ford Kenya A or Ford Kenya B?
We still have our issues. We haven't sorted them out.
What do you think about this issue?
We should be able to sort them out sooner than later.
What do you think about this issue of Deputy President William Ruto trying to gag, I'd put it that way, trying to gag the Meru governor, that is Kiraitu Murungi?
I think he has formed a habit of going to places and hectoring the local leadership. I don't think that's the right way to go, because if you go to a place, they have their leaders. Okay. So if you go to that place and then you are hectoring their leaders, and at the markets you are bribing voters and things like those, and you want to say that you will bring a better system, you see, I will know who you are by your behavior. If you are busy bribing voters, it's telling me already who you are. So you can't come to my place or my market center, you're bribing voters and hectoring me.
Who's bribing voters, Mheshimiwa?
Him, the deputy.
You cannot bribe millions and millions of
people. Yeah, but that's where I'm 1.5 million on this market, 1 million on this market.
That is called like bottom up.
That's bribing voters.
Oh,
that's
you're
bribing voters.
Is that what is happening?
No, I'm just saying.
It's bribing
the
voters.
money that the deputy president is giving to the market is helping the women
it is bribing
and
voters.
the young people.
It is bribing voters. You cannot use it in any other way, and that tells me who he is. Another thing that tells me more is as Madam Jaldesa has just said, he has not been in office, but he has stuck to the office. That tells me who he is. The fact that 2013 to 2017, he was outshining his boss. Actually, outshining his boss, going out of his way to outshine his boss. That already tells me who he is. There are some things
so
that are not.
That the good thing that happened.
No. You spoke. I did not interfere with you. I said outshining his boss. Okay. That's totally different from what you are saying. So I think this habit of over a period of 9 years, which has now intensified in the last 4 years, you are going around selling hate of individuals, that you call them names, what I call hectoring, mganga, kitendawili, nini, just hectoring and selling hate. I think that's not right. I think let's have some decency, because if I were to go to Meru, I think it will be wrong for me to hector at Kiraitu Murungi. He has his right. He has his right. If he wants to support Raila, that's his right. I don't think it's the deputy president's place to hector him.
Okay.
I think that kind of hectoring and selling hate doesn't help our political space at all.
So,
and I think he needs to disengage from that kind of mode, because he has been in that mode for now close to 9 years and intensified in the last 4 years. I think he needs to disengage from that, because as far as I'm concerned, this what they call empowerment, empowering the youth and the women, is just bribing voters. That's what it is. And I can assure you, the richest company in this country, Safaricom, if they did that, they will go bankrupt. Yes.
So, I would like first to comment on what Moheshpa Jaldes has said about Mera, and I really sympathize with the Mera farmers in Meru, because their business has gone down, just like the way coffee business has gone down in my constituency. But sometimes we have to pay some sacrifices. The kind of activities we are getting from Somalia was costing our country lives and livelihoods. We had terrorists coming from Somalia, coming to Kenya and messing up with our people, bombing establishments, and it was very, very insecure for us as a nation. Somalia had become a route for magendo into our country and was messing up with our economy, including many of the counterfeit goods that were coming through the port of Kismayu. This had to be stopped so that we don't mess up with our people and mess up with our economy. So this is a cost. This is a sacrifice to be paid. So we are very, very hopeful that other markets will emerge for Mera and the business will rise up. But there is no need of having a thriving business when you don't have security in your country. Okay. Now this bottom up she's talking about. To me, the model of bottom up is already being done by Uhuru government, and it is helping in a systematic way. We have youth fund, we have women fund, we have several funds that are helping our people to get money so that they can go and invest and make business out of it. Then they repay and it becomes a revolving fund that will help people perpetually. In my constituency, we have already disbursed over 33 million from Uwezo Fund to help our groups to do business. And they are making money. They are using that money to rent each other and to help each other to do business. Yeah. Our youth are being trained through a program called Kenya Youth Employment and Opportunities Program, KYOP, where they are recruited. For the first month, they are trained in life skills, where they are able to understand themselves, understand their capabilities, understand how to choose their careers. The next 3 months, they are trained in a professional work, either plumbing, carpentry, electrical, all those services, including even beauty and catering and all that. And then they go further and do an attachment for a further 3 months. By the time these students are through with this program, they are employable. And then government has a system where it is giving those who have not gotten employment loans to go out there and start business. That is an organized bottom-up economy. But this bottom-up of dishing money in marketplaces, in a way that you just give somebody 1,000 or 3,000 shillings, yes, you have helped him for that day.
But you also have to agree with me, Mheshimiwa, that we've had a lot of issues with that, with those loans, right?
Well, I'm not aware about the issues because
they're out there in the open. Okay. They're out there in the open.
In my constituency, it is working. You know, everything that is structured, there must be a systematic way of doing it. You just don't go to a bank and get loan. There are forms to be filled. You have to ensure that you have a good project proposal. You know, people don't want to go through that. They just want to enter the office and live with money. So you must go through some due diligence system which ensures that you have the capacity to repay the money. So that fund will be a successful fund.
Okay, let me stay with you, Mheshimiwa, right? Sorry for cutting you short. I understand we're also running we are running a bit late on time. If you can see what I have right now on my screen, still on politics, that is page 5 of the Daily Nation. ODM leaders in coast snub Raila Tuya. I want to stay with you. In Kilifi, he skipped a function at Narani where he was expected to open an ODM office for unspecified reasons, and we are seeing that no governor from the coast actually accompanied the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Why do you think that is so? Is that a message they're trying to
say? I am not a member of the ODM, and maybe I'm not qualified to answer that question, because maybe they had their own plans, and I really was not following up what ODM was doing. I am a member of Jubilee. Ask me questions about Jubilee, I'll give you the answers. I know, well, fair enough. I know Mheshimiwa Jaldeza belongs to UDA, but I'm sure you will want to respond to that. Why do you think the coast leaders snubbed Raila's tour at the coast?
Thank you. Just like Mheshimiwa said, I am not a member of ODM. I was not in Mombasa, but I can just speculate from what I know, because I have been to the coast many times, of course accompanying my colleagues. And I can tell you, and I want to repeat this, whoever come with this phrase that mambo ni tofauti ground, really amesoma ground. Because I can tell you, there is this perception that coast is an ODM zone. Probably next to Luo Nyanza, it has been said it is a coast. But if you go there now, objectively, things are totally changed. Now the politics of bottom up, the hustlers, they feel like this is their time, regardless of tribe, regardless of class. They feel whether this, and I just want to slightly disagree with Mheshimiwa when he says that these funds, the youth fund, the women fund, have been a success. I handle a small fund called Affirmative Action, National Government Affirmative Action Fund. This actually is not even a loan, it's a grant. We give it to women groups, we give it to the youth groups. It is not a loan, but we follow all the process. We train the youths, we train the women, and we give them the money. You follow it up even after 2 weeks, that fund is not there. People have sort of gone to their corners, distributed the funds amongst the groups, and imeisha. Why? Because there is too much problem. Mheshimiwa is saying, giving somebody 1,000, 200,000 does not solve a problem. Trust you me, that 1,000, 2,000, that goes to an individual. All developments are personal. The mama mboga who is selling sukuma wiki in a market and making maybe 50 shillings in a day, if you come and boost her business with 2,000 shillings, my friend, you have increased the turnover from 50 shillings to 200. It has worked. Ask me. I am a women rep, and that is what we do. When we give the groups tents and chairs, people feel like, these women, kazi yao ni kupeana tent na chairs. That tent and chairs will be with that group. They will hire it to weddings, not even with those big money where the other corporate companies are leasing, 3,000, 2,000.
I think, Mheshimiwa, before I let Mheshimiwa Dr. Simiyu to respond to that, I think the critics of that model of funding have an issue with the money that has not gone through, financial systems. Giving out cash, giving out words of cash in rallies, don't you think that is dangerous?
And it's not good for Mheshimiwa to talk about probably things, just like, we are trying to run away from why cost members of parliament or governors sniped the meeting.
Thank you for admitting. Thank you for admitting that we are trying to run away,
No. I'm just telling you, because we were not there, just like Mheshimiwa said. And we don't want to be haters. But I'm saying, even the money that Deputy President is giving to groups, probably my two brothers here do not understand how that money works. I want to sit here on a national television and tell you. Like, for example, Deputy President was in Isiolo on 10th. And he gave the groups, the market group, Isiolo, 2 million shilling. The money was handed over to me. It was not given to the political rallies to mobilize attendees. It was given for specific reason, to empower. So we sat down with a committee of 54. We distributed the money to Mama Mbogas, the one who is selling her sukuma, her cabbage at the market. Ule anauza miraa. You know, she needs probably about 500 shilling to get a box of miraa. And her turnover, if she sells that miraa, is about 300 or 400. Are you understanding?
Yes,
if
I
you
get.
boost that with another 500, are you not increasing the turnover? That is why we are saying we target the people who are down there. For us seated here, 1,000, 2,000, even 1.5 million may not sound like a big amount of money or something that will change our lives. But for Mama Mboga, that 500 shilling, and they know, because we deal with those people, that model, and that is why the Hustler Nation, my friend, is unstoppable. Wakubali, wasipokubali. One day, one time, 9th of September, next year, nitakuja hapa and we'll talk about
I can see Mheshimiwa is itching to respond to that, but just before I let him do that, is it the time that the Deputy President just suddenly woke up and realized there are hustlers in this country? Mheshimiwa had asked, why did he do that in 2015?
Thank you for asking me that question. Probably Mheshimiwa has not been with William Ruto for a long time. I have traveled political journey with William Ruto from, I think, Kanu days. I may not have been a politician in the public, but behind the scene, I've been. From Kanu, then we came to ODM, then URP. I can assure you, it may not be as pronounced as now.
Okay.
But William Ruto has stuck with this bottom-up business since, I think, his political career.
Okay. Thank you.
I think one, this so-called bottom-up is the biggest fraud ever pulled on Kenyans.
Why?
Because it's a monumental fraud. Because I can assure you, throwing money at poverty does not end poverty. You must have proper structures to do that, to build a strong economy. And why I'm calling it a monumental fraud is this. Now we are talking about hustlers. Don't talk about tribes, don't talk about whatever, because at one point, somebody pointed out a fact that the leadership of this country has been between the Kikuyu and the Kalenjins. And it looks like the Kalenjin is about to take over again. So he had to run away from that. So create this team called Hustlers. So that way you run away from the tribal issues. One, he has been part and parcel of the problem in this country. Of negative ethnicity, tribal mobilization, he has been part of it. Now he wants to run away from it and using hustlers. It's very unfortunate, especially for people in the coast and western, who have been badly disenfranchised to the point that their poverty is, glaring. So you go there with your voter bribery strategy, you throw in $1 million.
Why are you calling
it's voter bribery. There's no other name for it. You throw some money at this market center to these poor chaps. They'll really, and last time I was here, I gave people the example of the Joseph Stalin effect, where Joseph Stalin took a chicken, painfully plucked off its feathers, and the chicken was really in pain. Then he let the chicken run around there in pain. Then he threw some maize, and the chicken came and ate that maize, forgetting the pain Stalin had put it through. And that is what William Ruto is doing now. Plucked off the feathers of all these Kenyans, to the point that places like, even when you talk of last mile electrification, it didn't work in Western, because the company that was awarded that tender never performed. So that didn't work. When you talk of tarmacking all these roads, how many are in Western? So there is nothing. So now you have plucked off the feathers, and then you throw some maize, and the chicken still comes back. That's the Stalin effect. And that is what William Ruto is doing. Unfortunately, these impoverished people might not see it for what it is. In fact, the situation now, even on my own market center now, when I go there, the people are expecting me to dish out money, because the last time the DP was there, he gave them 1 million shillings. So when I go there, they expect me to do the same. I explain to them that, look, I don't have that kind of money to dish out like that. And two, if anybody is able to give every market center in Kenya 1 million shillings and Safaricom can't, then you need to find out which business this is. Perhaps you should not be hustling. Find out which business it is so that you can also do that business that can generate such money that you can actually just go all over. Me, I call it voter bribery. There's no other question about it. Because if it's not voter bribery, then what is it? because we are talking about empowerment and things like those. There is something not right here, and I don't think it's right for us to make excuses for it. That this is right, this is whatever, because development of a nation, economic development of a nation, does not rely on an individual's pocket to do so. It doesn't, and it cannot. So we cannot go around saying that I'm giving you this, and now when I take over government, I'll take money from government and give you. Where is government getting that money from? Government is getting that money from us. So I think there is something here that we need to be very aware of. That's why I call it the bottom-up is a monumental fraud, because the Kenyan constitution itself, 2010, is a bottom-up. So the constitution itself is a bottom-up. You cannot come up with any other bottom-up here.
Thank you. Time now for a very, very short break. I'll let you, Mheshimiwa, respond to that. On top of, there's a question I want to ask you about Jubilee. You said you belong to the Jubilee Party, and I know you belong to what they call the Jubilee A. You're going to respond to that and also react to that, rather, and also talk about Jubilee and the NDC that is expected to be held on the 30th of this month. Time now for a very short break. Don't go away. I'll be right back.
Entrepreneurs around the country are creatively grinding.
I started with a borrowed phone.
A borrowed phone?
Yeah, that could last 2 hours with charge.
We just have to do quality work for them.
To make their mark in an unpredictable market.
It was now going on a sales venture, looking for stockists door to door.
On the grind, we bring you their stories so you can tell yours. Every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Men are known to be the pillars.
We're rising up together.
Say your point. You need an alpha male now to come and help you and your girl.
Anaongea zero.
And women, they are the cornerstone that hold the pillars.
Don't be entitled. A man is peaceful, a man who's allowed to talk to a lady.
This November, the Men's Conference brings a cocktail of diverse ladies to weigh in on various matters.
Something I'd love more to see is men being able to exist as themselves.
Tune in every Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Hello guys, and welcome to Night In with Joy Irungu. Joy Irungu.
Heartbreak, pain, and tears have been a major part of Night In Season 1. We thank you for being with us on this journey, and for this upcoming season, we will bring you more empowering stories that not everyone is talking about.
This is the only show where we keep it authentic. We share our lifetime experiences, and you know what? Tell every person that you can turn your pain into power.
Welcome back to Morning Cafe. 22047 is our SMS line. Let's keep this show interactive at Eric_Mnene at TV47KE are our Twitter handles. Mheshimiwa, just before we went on a short break, you wanted to react to what Dr. Eseli Simiyu was saying.
Leadership calls for visionary leaders, people who can be able to guide their people and guide them in the right direction. This is not the first time that we have had this handout mentality, what Dr. Eseli is calling bribery. Even during the Nyayo era, we had a lot of dishing out of money, and that was meant to help those underprivileged people. Remember, even the YK 92, it was a very serious dishing out program, dishing out money. You remember the Jirongo, the 500 shilling note, which was being called Jirongo. It was dished out seriously. How did that affect our economy? How did that improve the livelihoods of our people? Yes, they were given the 500 shillings. They went out there, did whatever they did, but in a short while, they did not have any money.
Yeah.
In 2016, I passed a bill which lowered the interest rates for banks. This was something that was meant to help business people to access affordable loans and improve their businesses. If somebody is very, very serious about helping the underprivileged. He can come out with a system where he can even establish an enterprise bank that will be assisting people to access loans and be able to improve on their businesses. And that is what is happening right now. Is just going to help us form a handout mentality where people will be expecting that money will be handed out. And I can tell you, and we have seen this before, there are other leaders in different categories of leaders who have used the dish out mentality to get into leadership. Yes. The first thing they do after they are elected is to do their best to get back the money that they dished through corruption, through unscrupulous businesses, through misuse of public funds. And that is exactly what will happen. It is a normal human practice that if I invest, I would like that investment to bring back profit. These leaders who are investing in dishing out money, they will expect to recoup back their money through whatever means that they are going to get.
Okay, and if we cross over now to the Standard, we'll see what we are talking about here, and it seems like we journalists are also part of that. Do you agree with that cartoon there by Gado Mheshimiwa Jaldesa? Right on the screen. I think my producer will project it on the screen. Those are journalists following the Deputy President's motorcade. You can see there, he is dishing out money. You want to comment on that?
You know, Eric, we have just, Mheshimiwa Eseli here has just said that we should move away from the politics of hate. And clearly what is portrayed there, I must say, is just another politics of hate. And I don't know why it is acceptable when there is so much hate geared toward Deputy President that everything he does, you know, is either corruption or one way or another, it is never appreciated. And this is a story for another day. Because of time, I don't want to go into it. Because if my colleagues here are critiquing the bottom-up model, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has also joined the discussion on bottom-up. And he says,
how has he done
when
that?
I am explaining to you, Eric. He said when he takes over as a president, he will make sure that every unemployed youth will get 6,000.
But he corrected his stand and said it's not the youth, it's only disadvantaged families.
Thank you, whatever. But I am sure you are agreeing with me that he said.
Yeah, he did.
So I don't know why William Ruto is being criticized for making sure that the people, because the model Mheshimiwa is explaining of borrowing in a structured way, in a functional government like any, America, US, it may work, but not in a country where you are talking about developing skills. And I want to tell you, Kenya does not have shortage of skills. We have children who have gone to school, finished to university, done IT, done procurement, done engineering, but staying at home for lack of employment. You're talking about skills. We have children who have gone through NYS, trained in all these skills. But as I said, things are different on ground. You borrow money, the interest rate is up there. You are told you are supposed to access 30% of every opportunity, including business. But you go and find out where does that 30% goes. It goes to the pockets of the rich. If it is opportunity for the young people, how many young people are accessing those opportunities, even in their counties? It goes to those who are politically connected to the governors or their circles. So, for me, and I am telling you as a politician who are on the ground, the only way we will get out of poverty, call it whatever names you want to call it, is to ensure that the ordinary people, the mamambogas, the border rider, the people selling miraa, the people selling milk, should make sure that they increase the volume. That is what we are saying about the bottom up. It is about volume. And that is the only way how we can increase the tax collection in this country.
Thank you.
Just as I finish, if you look at even Safaricom, on what it is selling more, it is that kabambe. How many Kenyans can afford to buy a 500, 1,000 airtime? But if you go down and see how many Kenyans are buying that 20 shillings, kabambe, you will be shocked. Even the tea leaves, the ones that are packed in a small sachet, the one that somebody can buy and cook at that point. Even the milk, the 250 ml sells more.
Okay.
So that is the bottom-up model we are talking. They can scandalize it by calling it any name.
Okay.
But for me, I am there.
Mheshimiwa, react very briefly because I want us to talk about something else.
Yeah, this is the situation. The people we are now trying to lift up, saying Mama Boga, border borders, most of these are youths who lack jobs. Why are they lacking jobs? Because we have not created jobs for them. And the jobs will be created by big corporates and foreign direct investment that will create those jobs.
Really?
Yes,
big corporates and
big corporates create jobs. If you started a corporate, you can start a small business, you'll also create jobs. But those jobs we are looking for are not there. And that's what has created the situation. And that's why I was giving you the Joseph Stalin chicken situation. That our mismanagement of our economy, in the sense that we've taken all these Chinese loans, which does not create a lot of employment for our people, so our people don't have jobs. Then we tell them that now you don't have jobs, but you on border, I'm going to give you some money so that you can continue with your border business. We are not helping them because we are not creating jobs still. Okay. I think this thing of the hustler narrative is a convenient way for somebody to get leadership of this country. It is not anything that can really help these same people. It's the Stalin chicken situation. And we must be awake to it, and that's why I'm calling the bottom-up a monumental fraud on Kenyans.
Allow me to a different thought.
Okay.
For once, I want to disagree with Dr. Eseli, and I agree partly with Honorable Jaldesa.
Okay, wow.
The bottom-up economic model is a good idea. It is just being misused. Okay? Because we don't develop a bottom-up by dishing out money. It should come in a systematic way. And that's why I quoted for you the KAYO program, which is empowering youth with the knowledge, empowering them with how to do business, then giving them loans and giving them jobs. That's a good economic bottom-up model. But when you just give people money and they don't even know how to do business, they will not help. Two, I want to disagree with Dr. Eseli that it is the multinationals and foreign investment only that can bring business
just
here.
Part of it.
Do you know the border industry as an industry turns over more money than Safaricom, which is the biggest company in Kenya? There is more money in border than in Safaricom. So what we should do is to help our people to think commercially, to think in a way that they are going to do production. Let us have our own local industries, our small juakalis that are going to help our people. Yeah? And if we get them engaged in doing those small things. I was following this KAYO thing. I've really studied it, and I've even done some video clips about it. I have followed those students who went through the training, went through the internship, and now they are doing their own businesses. Others are employed. I followed one in Kilifi. He's working for Naivas supermarket. I followed others who are doing business in Kiambu. I followed others who are doing business in Nyeri. And it's because of this kind of training. And it has made them now to be earning their own living. So we need to have a systematic way of doing it. And we cannot do a bottom-up by just dishing out money.
Okay, so
it must be...
That's what I want to
react to that.
Throwing money at poverty.
I want us to shift gears and talk about something that is really,
but
really interesting.
But I just want to thank Mheshimiwa for at least agreeing that at least bottom-up is the way to go for this country.
But it is already happening.
That's the constitution of the country.
It's already going on.
That's the constitution of the country.
And at least, it is good. You can never run away from facts. And forget about the issue of giving people money. But the fact of the matter is that he's agreeing that bottom-up is the way to go.
Okay.
If you want to give me an opportunity to even explain how the so-called money comes from, I am ready because I know how we are coming up with that money.
Okay, we'll have it your way. We'll have it your way, Mheshimiwa. I want us to shift gears and talk about this issue of party loyalties. Page 8 of the Standard. I don't know if you can see that. It's on the screen right now. Raila, losers in ODM primaries must not worry. The ODM leader has promised that those who are going to lose at the primaries should not worry. I think he has something in store for them. Why is this issue of party loyalty? And I think the right person to start with on that subject. Why is it so important to want to to belong to a party? And yet the Constitution 2010 allows politicians to vie for the various seats as independent candidates.
I think the media actually influences public opinion very well, and sometimes they can actually influence it in the wrong direction. Just like the earlier headline talked about at ODM leaders in court snap Raila. When you read it, the leaders were actually there. It's just the governors who missed. The senators were there, everybody else was there, but no, they create that impression.
But politics about optics, right?
Yeah, but you see, the thing is that the media also needs to be responsible. Okay. More responsible than that. So now when you get to the issue of losers in primaries, because usually what happens when there's been a nomination process and the losers feel that they lost unfairly, they can actually be very damaging to that political party. So I think what Raila is trying to do is try and find a way of helping the losing people not to feel disenfranchised by offering a more how do you call it, free and fair nomination process, which is very difficult for political parties, because here a nomination process is almost like a general election, and you see the difficulties IEBC has in handling a general election. So you can imagine a political party trying to do the same thing countrywide at the nomination process. So to really get a nomination process that's not flawed in political parties is a very, very difficult thing to do. And that will remain an Achilles heel on our politics until we sort out that matter. Because when we have that kind of situation, now it takes Raila to reassure. And you've heard even the deputy president also reassuring the people he's with that just because you are my friend doesn't mean you'll get a ticket, you'll have to go through nomination and things like that. So all of them are aware of the Achilles heel that nomination process in political parties is. So it's something that we can't run away from. It's a difficult process.
Mheshimiwa Jaldeza, speaking of free and fair nomination, for a free and fair nomination process, is the UDA party going to conduct free and fair nominations for all the posts from the presidency all the way to the member of county assembly, or there are posts that are a preserve of a few?
I can affirmatively tell you yes. And before I go into UDA, I want to stay on the question that you had earlier asked about the assurance by Raila Odinga. And at one point I was a member of ODM. And I can tell you, I know why Raila Odinga is worried about party nominations. ODM does not have a very good reputation in as far as party nomination is concerned. They have been accused of, handing out nomination certificates to people who are perceived to be close to party leaders. There have been accusations of, parties' nomination certificate being sold to the highest bidder. And I can tell you this as a person who at some point was a very inside person of ODM. And what really kills the parties, especially in the strongholds, is the party nomination. And UDA does not have an option but to be free and fair. And I can tell you, because I remember I am the only politician from northern Kenya, maybe few of us, who have ever participated in party nominations. The rest will go into other parties, probably friendly parties, because they never trust the nomination process. I participated in Jubilee nomination and I won. And my competitor actually went into independent and still contested, and we went up to the ballot. So for me, for some of us, especially in areas where we never produce a presidential candidate, parties are not so much of an issue. And therefore, it will not shock you when me seated here today, a very serious defender of a UDA or a bottom-up, you finding me in another party. It does not in any way, point up to lack of patriotism or lack of commitment. There are many factors. Politics has its different dynamics at local levels. you know, at local levels we have political formation.
Yeah.
Counties like mine, people go through negotiated democracy. It may happen that today I am in UDA, but the conformation that will come up has a governor who is already aligned probably to ODM, you know, or any other party.
Okay.
I may be forced for my own political survival to, you know, shift loyalty.
Yeah.
So really, these party things, you should not be looked at holistically. It has to be looked at in a different, you know, dynamics. So for me, I want to say that the political parties must really be free and fair, especially ODM and UDA. If they are not careful, that is what will destroy the party.
Okay. Mheshimiwa, your party is going to hold its NDC on the 30th of this month. What is this thing about party loyalty?
Just before going to that, we have heard that there are already some parties which are already selling nominations and they have set the standard, they have set the prices. So this is something that really happens. It's not a stretching. Yes, the Jubilee Party is going to hold an NDC on 30th of this month. And that is a kawaida thing. NDCs are held by parties. And that is what our party is going to do. And it is not a question of party loyalty. It's a requirement by law that NDC have to be held. But one thing that is very, very clear is that there are some people who have already declared that they have declared loyalty to other parties, and they have been actively out there publicizing and campaigning for other parties. Literally what they have done is that they have left Jubilee Party and they have gone to other parties.
And so
we as Jubilee would feel very, very guilty receiving money from those members who are already supposed to be paying money to other parties which they are campaigning for. We will authorize them to now go and, you know, 100% be loyal to those other parties, so that in Jubilee we will have members who are thinking, who are promoting, who are campaigning, and who have ideals of Jubilee in them. So the others can allow us to work as Jubilee, and then they can work as their own respective parties.
But Mheshimiwa, we saw like in the Kibra by-election, there were members of the Jubilee Party campaigning for, you know, candidates from, you know, other parties like the ODM.
We are not talking campaigning about, not campaigning for candidates, campaigning for other parties.
But the support
this was just a by-election for one position.
Okay.
And I think there was a general agreement within the party. In fact, the party had said it is not going to have a candidate, but eventually there was a candidate. So it was not something so serious. Now we are having a national campaign, and if a member declares that I'm going to campaign for Party B and it belongs to Party A, then the most sensible thing is to let them to go out there and campaign for that party, so that we are left with people who are seriously for campaigning for Jubilee and people who seriously want Jubilee to win. Otherwise we'll be having people within the party who are sabotaging us from within.
So I'll take that as you confirming that, you know, Mheshimiwa Jaldesa and other leaders allied to the Deputy President are going to be kicked out of the Jubilee, from the Jubilee Party.
I cannot control what the NDC is going to be. A democratic party. It is the delegates who will be at the NDC who are going to make that decision. Personally, I would support such a decision.
Do you want to react to that?
Yes, of course, Eric. I think I want to save Mheshimiwa and his group the headache of chasing us out, because we have already left.
Okay.
And in fact, he says we should stop contributing. Mheshimiwa, you should just go and check your facts. We stopped contributing. And we did so clearly because many times we have requested, we have even written to the party leader to, you know, PG is our right.
Yeah.
It is clearly stated in the party constitution. I think since this is now, I'm finishing my 4th year, going to the 5th, we have never had a serious PG to discuss the matters of our party. The only time that we were ever called for a PG, if I am not wrong, is 2 or 3 times. And on both times, the first time we were invited, we were invited for a dress down. We were called names. Nobody was allowed to, and Mheshimiwa was there. And if I am wrong, you can say I am wrong. We were called names. We were not allowed to say anything. We were given a list of committee chairs to just go and pass without question. So clearly there was no democracy. The second time we were called to chase out some leadership of the party. And I remember even in that forum, when we were told those who are against to raise their hands, we did. We were not counted. The majority decision was not taken into place, and the minority decision was taken to kick out the likes of Mheshimiwa Duale as the majority leader. We demanded for the signature to be tabled so that we can know who are these members of Jubilee who signed to remove Mheshimiwa Duale. Up to this minute, we have not seen, because those signatures were fake. So at that point, we decided this is not the Jubilee we wanted to be part and parcel of, and we stopped sending. So Mheshimiwa, if you people were planning to chase the people, the group that has already left, hiyo ni kupoteza pesa ya chama in a wrong way. For me, even if I will be invited, I will not go. Na wakinitoa, wametoa mtu already ametoka. Yes.
Yes, so Mheshimiwa,
as a spirit,
I wouldn't want to comment about
yes,
it.
I know, and that's why I want us to talk about it.
I have my own problems.
Yes.
Thanks for admitting. So we have page 6 of the People Daily right there on the screen. I'm sure none of you has a copy of the People Daily, but how Wanyonyi's governor bid could rock the Jubilee ODM talks. There are coalition negotiations. The Jubilee Party and the ODM are negotiating to form a coalition for next year's general election. Where does this leave Fort Kenya? You feel you're out in the cold?
Fort Kenya is in limbo because of the troubles we've had for about 2 years now. Court cases, multiple court cases. So we are just tied in a knot, going round and round. So I wouldn't say we can effectively participate in whatever political formations that are going on now, because we don't know which we are yet to get clarity as to which faction is the legitimate one. So we wouldn't be able to, as individuals we can participate, but as a party it's difficult at the moment until we get some clarity, and time is running out for that.
Well, Mheshimiwa, I'll take it back to you. These coalition negotiations between Jubilee and ODM, don't you feel it's only natural for the Deputy President and leaders allied to him, and especially the majority of those who are in UDA, to feel they've been left out of this, and so it's only natural for them to walk out?
Like she said, they are no longer fronting for Jubilee initiatives.
Why can't Jubilee form a coalition with UDA?
Because UDA has walked, most of the members of UDA have walked away from Jubilee without any explanation. So why should we go chasing for them? If they want to come back to Jubilee, they'll use the same door that they used to leave to come in. It is very, very easy for you. But what I can say about this is that ODM and Jubilee are two distinct parties.
Yeah.
They could work together, they may not work together. So their candidates are free to field, the parties are free to field their candidates for any position without necessarily considering whether the other party is fielding a candidate. If at any one time they will come to an agreement and do a coalition agreement, then it will state clearly what are the terms of agreement as far as those candidates are concerned. But as it is right now, these are two distinct parties. They may have the same beliefs, but each party has its own constitution and its own way of doing things.
Okay.
And it will continue working like that.
Okay, so as we wrap this up, some interesting story. I'll take you back to the Standard. There's a page 13 of the Standard. There's a story there. Senators query the cost of mega road projects. Let me just read what this story is all about to you. Roundtable on economic recovery highlights gaps in business and environment. And senators have questioned the inflated, I might call it that, the inflated cost of building, big infrastructure projects. There's an example of the Rironi-Mau Summit Expressway, which was initially to be constructed at a cost of 23 billion shillings, but then again, it was constructed, the amount was raised to 63 billion shillings last year. And even at 23 billion shillings, the World Bank had already questioned that cost as being so high. So the senators are querying that cost of mega road projects. Do you feel, and I'll take it back to you, Rehema, do you feel that such projects, because you're talking about infrastructure projects that people realize that they were useful in a retrospective manner, do you feel that these projects are going to paint President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy in a bad light?
I think it's one area we have to be very, very careful about, because if you look at most of the construction going on in the country are being done by foreign companies.
Okay.
That puts maybe to doubt the capacity of even our engineers to supervise those works. And that is why maybe the government should rely more on consultants who are able to employ, expertise into their businesses to check out on these prices. Because if we have like 10 companies that are coming to tender and they are all from out of the country, how would we know that these companies are not colluding to inflate the prices of these contracts? How do we know that our engineers in the ministries and the technocrats are not being used to inflate these projects for their own benefit? We have a problem there, and I think we are one of the few countries where maybe the cost of construction is very, very high. I don't know whether it's because even our labor is higher than in the neighboring countries, but that is one area that really needs a lot of focus so that we can cut down on the cost of our infrastructure.
Okay, thank you very much, Jude Njomo, the MP for Kiambu Town, Dr. Eseli Simiyu, MP Tongaren. I don't know if you're speaking for Ford Kenya A or Ford Kenya B.
As I told you, we are in
still trying to see which is the legitimate